Okay, now we're going to talk about the second column, the adverbial expressions. Some people call them subordinators. Some people call them subordinating conjunctions. And these are the words that we use to begin an adverb clause. And here as we go down, you'll see a list of them. And while the coordinating conjunctions, there are only 7 in English. For these subordinating conjunctions or subordinators or adverbial expressions, all different words for the same thing, we have many, many, many of these. You can see them listed down here. Things like although, in order that, because, if. We have lots and lots of them. This list is not complete that you have on your handout. It's just the most commonly used ones that I could think of. Here is your rule, and you see the rule is different. It's a different rule than you have for conjunction. For a subordinator, none is used when the main clause comes first in the sentence. If the dependent clause comes first, it must be followed by a comma. And here are some examples. He went to bed because he was tired. And here is your adverb clause, beginning with the subordinator because. And we've talked about how you can flip this kind of sentence, that if it has an adverb clause, you can begin with the adverb clause. And you can say, because he was tired, comma, he went to bed. But that comma goes in if you put the subordinator first. And you can see the rule is different for these 2 different kinds of sentences. Different punctuation rule for conjunctions than for subordinators. Okay, now we have the third category is what I call logical connectors. Some people call them adverbial conjunctions. Some people call them sentence connectors. And I think when you think about these, you need to listen to me and not pay too much attention to the book, because I think the book gets very confusing with these, and it does not need to be confusing. It's a word that's used to show a logical connection between 2 sentences. And here's a whole bunch of them. Here again, we have so many of these, lots and lots and lots of them in English. Nowhere near of them are on this list. I've just put down the most commonly used ones. But you've got things like therefore, as a result, as a matter of fact, okay, however, also. Okay, and the rule is it begins a new sentence or it follows a semicolon, and the logical connector is followed by a comma. He was tired, period, capital, therefore, comma, he went to bed. Or you can do, he was tired, semicolon, no capital, therefore, comma, he went to bed. In many cases, you can also put the logical connector at the end of the sentence, but we won't worry about that too much right now. Okay, but here is just a good summary of what's going on here. If you can compare these 3. These are 3 different ways to say the same thing with different connections and different punctuation. Okay, here it is with your coordinating conjunction but, the B in the fanboys. He left the house early, comma, but he missed the meeting. Here I'm going to do this as an adverbial clause with a subordinator. And my subordinator that I'm using is in spite of the fact that. Okay. He missed the meeting in spite of the fact that he left the house early. And you can see there's no comma because my subordinator is in the middle. I can also put this at the beginning, and then I would say, in spite of the fact that he left the house early, comma, he missed the meeting. And this, in spite of the fact that he missed that, in spite of the fact that he left the house early, that is an adverbial clause. Here's a way to say exactly the same thing and use a logical connector. He left the house early, semicolon, however, comma, he missed the meeting. And that means the same thing. You want to be careful not to put too many connectors in the same sentence. Very often, students will put but and however in the same sentence. And that's what we call redundant. You're repeating the same thing 2 times. So you want to decide whether you're going to do the sentence this way with a conjunction or this way with a logical connector, or if you want to make an adverb clause.